What's going on, everyone? Bass here. As you saw in my last video, I went over what the Packers can do and expect for 2021 in terms of their salary cap being negative $32 million over the cap. And then as we are looking at the cap spaces in the NFL, you see probably the worst cap situation in NFL history, the complete dumpster fire. Gosh, this team... it's going to be so difficult for the Saints to be competitive next year. I mean, let alone Drew Brees retiring is going to lower their team so much, but a lot of their defenders that made their defense so good are going to be gone. So today, I want to try to fix the New Orleans Saints. Now, let me start off by saying I am not a Saints fan by any means. I don't know everything about their team. This is just going to be me trying to fix this dumpster fire because as of right now for 2021, they're pretty much fucked. Like there's a lot they have to do. There is a lot they have to do. There is, like I said, a lot of players on offense and defense that are going to be gone. I mean, is Jameis Winston going to return at a low deal? Maybe. And then the only other really quarterback they have that, start worthy is Taysom Hill, which they're paying a ridiculous amount of money for what he is. So at this rate, why wouldn't you start him? But like I said, $112 million over the cap, just a complete horrible situation. So if we go into their current free agents here, you see Craig Robertson, good linebacker, PJ Williams, one of their corners, Marcus Williams, a really good safety, Jameis Winston, like I said. You have Ty Montgomery, an ex-Packer friend there. Alex Anzalone, who's really good 4-3 backer this year, and then a really good edge rusher this year with Trey Hendrickson. So you have all these guys that are free agents, and they're not going to be able to re-sign pretty much any of them. Maybe the lower end ones, like I said, maybe Jameis Winston, who made 1.1 last year, maybe Ty Montgomery, who made $1 million last year, a couple guys, backup tackles, something like that. But guys like Anzalone and Hendrickson, it's going to be very hard for them to retain them, and I think they're going to be hitting the market. So first, I want to start with the Drew Brees situation. As we all know, he's probably going to end up retiring. I mean, he said he was, but NFL players sometimes get that itch to come back. So they have two options here. So when a player retires, it's going to be counted as a regular cut or trade or whatever. So they're going to gain 13.5 and 22 in dead money. They do have an option to do a post June 1st cut, which would then take a lot of that bonus and put it over multiple years. The problem with that is they're going to have to take that full cap. They have to be under the cap when the new league year starts, and they're going to have to take this $36 million until June 1st. So that's going to be a lot harder for them to get under, but it's definitely something we can talk about. I think it's probably a safe bet to try to do that because you're just going to save more, and it's not going to be you're almost saving double for this upcoming season, which you're under $112 million, over $112 million. And this is with a projection of 180, which, this cap could even be 175. I'm hoping it's about 180. That's what I think it's going to be, 180, 182. So in terms of the other big contracts, Cameron Jordan at 18.9, Michael Thomas at 18.8, really, a lot for him considering the what he did this year, not much. Tron Armstead's a good tackle, 16.2. This is the most garbage one. Taysom Hill at 16.1. I just don't see how you're paying quarterbacks, if Drew Brees stayed this year, 52 in cap hit. That's beyond ridiculous. Like, I don't understand who decided to give Taysom Hill this, especially considering he's not even a full-time quarterback. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I guess if they're going to move forward with him starting, personally, I'd bring back Jameis Winston on a short-term deal and probably start him. It's just something I would do, but, Janoris Jenkins, way too much for what he is. 14.2 is ridiculous. Quan Alexander, same thing, way too much for him, 13. Pete's a good guard. Jared Cook, way too much for his age, 11. Ramczyk's a good tackle there for 11. And Davis is also getting older, and, Lattimore is probably going to end up being traded. So let's try to start out with who we can cut. So just for the sake of things, I'm going to put Drew Brees as a post-June 1st cut. We can come back and adjust this. But right away, we're going to drop that down to 87, right? Next on the list, which is an easy cut candidate. I mean, they're saving $13 million, no dead money, because they traded for him. So, Quan Alexander, you're getting cut. And then we move on to Jared Cook. I also see him being cut. He's older. They're going to save $9 million there. It's like I said, there's going to be a lot of cuts here where normally a normal team with a normal cap situation, maybe wouldn't cut these players, but, the Saints have to, so we're going to cut Jared Cook here. Then we move down to wide receiver, and we have Emmanuel Sanders here at a $10 million cap number. No idea why, especially when you're paying Michael Thomas 18.8, and you have another receiver getting 10, especially at his age. No reason to have him there, so we're going to do a post-June 1st cut there, save them $6 million. And look at that. We are still negative $61 million. This is ridiculous. Nick Easton played, solid at guard here, but I just, for the money, for the cap hit, I just don't see it. They just need to save money anywhere they can, so he's going to be a post-June 1st cut to save roughly above $6 million. Same with Malcolm Brown. You're going to save $5 million there. This is just crazy. It is just so crazy. Even Latavius Murray here, he's, backup running back, making starting running back money. Average running back money at, above $4 million. I just cannot see it. Alvin Kamara is their starter. He's going to be playing running back. Give him all the snaps. I don't even know why they're paying Latavius Murray this much. We could go down the avenue of bringing Ty Montgomery back. I liked what he brought with the Saints, especially being like a backup to Kamara, kind of similar type of back, just obviously, not as, coveted as Kamara. And so Latavius Murray, I'm going to cut him too and save the $2.5 million. So next we're going to go to the only trade candidate I have so far on the Saints, would definitely be Marshawn Lattimore. There's already been talks of him being on the block, and I see why. They're going to save $10.2 million. Very good corner, and like I said, this is a situation where most teams, they're not going to want to trade this player. They're going to want to sign him to an extension and keep him on their football team, but you play this balance of money to value, and when your money is terrible, you can't hold on to said value. So we're going to go ahead and trade him and save the $10.2 million there. And we are still $40 million over the cap. So now we can start working on the restructuring part of certain contracts, and they're pretty much going to have to restructure about everyone that's up here. So Cameron Jordan, and we're going to give him like the max it can be, because they're just going to have to push it all into, future years. So Cameron Jordan being restructured would give him a cap gain of $9.6 million. So we'll go ahead and do that. Michael Thomas is going to have to be restructured. That'll give him $8.8 million. Go ahead and do that. Teron Armstead's going to have to be restructured. That'll give him $6.7 million. Go ahead and do that. And as you can see, it starts lowering these numbers because it's obviously pushing the bonus and guaranteed money out, which these aren't that bad. Obviously, shit changes over time, and rookies and different players that get bigger deals. But, we're starting to look a little more lively. Now, we haven't even touched the pending free agents, talked about rookie class, or even, other free agents in the league that they might want to sign. Not that they're going to be able to, but, we are still below here, and it's just crazy the amount of work this team needs. And I know I'm like a broken record saying it, but it is very bad. Like, I had issues, coping with the fact that the Packers were $32 million over the cap. So to imagine being a Saints fan right now and seeing that 112, you guys made your run. You stacked up, right? You wanted to get Brees that one more Super Bowl, and it didn't work out. I get that. But this is just neglect. This is very, very bad neglect. This is bad. This is going to make, your football team a very, very, very below average football team for a while now. So one cut I forgot about is actually Janoris Jenkins, saving $7 million there. His cap hit's way too high for, like I said, the type of cornerback he is. He's, 33 years old. He's not getting any better, and for a 14.2, that's taken 8% of their cap. It's just way, way too much. So we're going to go ahead and cut him as well. And they're really low on cornerbacks at this rate, because PJ Williams and I believe another corner here. I believe there's another corner here that's also a free agent. It might just be PJ Williams. and then obviously trading Lattimore and then cutting Jenkins. That's three corners down, and then that leaves you with like Patrick Robinson, who's old himself, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson Jr., which is ascending player, so that's not terrible there. But other than that, you have Grant Haley, and that's about it. You have practice squad guys or lower tier guys like Keith Washington. But you're going to have to draft probably 2 corners in this draft, and they're probably going to see playing time. So going back to the restructure part, Andres Pete, I see them restructuring him as well and saving that $6 million. He's a good guard. They're going to definitely, continue with him in the future. He's tied in until 2024, so I don't see them moving on from him until then. And at that point, he'll be 31, so still a young guard. So we're definitely going to continue with this restructure there. So right now, we are negative $2 million. We are getting there. We are so close. I think one of the main things to do is actually, it depends. It really depends, because if they actually want to move forward with Taysom Hill, which I feel like they kind of have to at this rate with the amount of money they paid him, you kind of got to put your money where your mouth is. But the best move might be to actually extend him, because that'll gain you money. And if you're actually going to move forward with Taysom Hill, extending him would lower the 2021 cap hit and kind of like be like, yeah, this is our quarterback of the future. And maybe he does turn out to something decent. Maybe he does get better as a passer. He's obviously already a great runner. He's very versatile. He can definitely do that in the aspect of that of his game. But it's hard to say what you have with him. Like I said, me personally, not that it's possible, but it's so hard because you can't really trade him. You can't really. I mean, you could trade him, but no one's going to trade for him unless you give them picks. Restructure does nothing. Cutting's not worth it, so you're kind of stuck with it. So you kind of have to extend him. But like I said, I'd still re-sign Jameis Winston to a small deal and then kind of let them battle it out. But if you extend him, you're kind of tying too much money for him to be a backup. I mean, tell that to the Eagles, but but it's such a hard situation. So for right now, I'm actually just going to leave it as is, because I'm not going to go here and predict what they would extend him to and where his bonuses would be brought out to in certain, future years. It's kind of really hard to predict that type of thing. Even saying that they extend him, we don't even know that. So right now, I'm just going to leave it as is and try to gain money elsewhere. One place they can add another cut would be Thomas Morstead. Very old punter, very reliable punter, but, for $4.5 million, they could probably just pick up a street free agent. It's much more worth it to save the money in their dire situation, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I'd say keep Will Lutz, just a very, very good kicker. You could save a little bit of money there, but, kicker's a very important position. So is punter, but, you got to probably get rid of Morstead just to save that money. And hooray, we are under. We are $970,000. You could buy a whole practice squad player for that. Congratulations, New Orleans. You have earned a third string left guard. All right, so let's continue. Try to get them a little more money, because obviously you need some money for the rookie class, and then also to re-sign a couple players, because they are, running out of players here. I mean, they have a lot of players on their roster, but we're going to try to keep them up where they need to be. One avenue they could end up doing, which I don't think they will, would be to either trade or post-June 1st cut David Onyemata. I think he's too young and good of a player in that defense. I just don't see them doing it. They got to keep some people. They can't get rid of every good player. I mean, it's a situation they're in, but it's so difficult. They do have Sheldon Rankins. Like I said, it's not really worth it there. I think him and Onyemata are going to remain their defensive tackles. Josh Hill is another cut that is potential, and I honestly am going to end up doing. I think they either sign a young tight end, cheap tight end, or draft one mid-rounds, or end up running Jason Vanderleen, or Cole Wick, or Garrett Griffin. They have a lot of random tight ends on this team that honestly I didn't know who Jason Vanderlaan is, but we might next year. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and, considering they have like a lot of random tight ends and could potentially draft one, I'm gonna save that 2.5 on Josh Hill. I do think they end up keeping Traquan Smith. You know, he definitely became one of their better receivers last year in my eyes. They don't have many other receivers, especially when you cut Emmanuel Sanders. Obviously, they have Deontay Harris, who's a young ascending player. And then they have other receivers, Humphrey, Callaway, Lampman, and Juwan Johnson. And they're most likely going to draft a guy to kind of take that Emmanuel Sanders spot. Because, like I said, just keeping Emmanuel Sanders is way, way too much. Circling back to the punter thing, they do have Blake Gillikin under contract. I believe he's a rookie last year from Penn State, a punter. So he'll definitely take the role of Morstead. So definitely don't have to sign a guy there. Like I said, I just realized they still have Blake Gillikin on the roster. And then you could decide between these two tight ends which one you want to keep, and you'd probably end up cutting one of these receivers, either Lampman, Callaway, or Humphrey. Just for the sake of things, I'm going to go ahead and cut Humphrey. And then with the tight ends, Garrett Griffin, I think, is a little more of a veteran, probably knows the system a little bit more. Definitely has seen more snaps than Cole Wick. So we're going to go ahead and cut Cole Wick here. And then we're going to move up here as well and just take a look at other players. Trevor Siemian, you know, you can cut him if you bring back Jameis. I'm going to go ahead and do that. You have another tight end here. You're probably going to end up keeping Zach Bond, nice Badger linebacker. Might actually end up starting because Anzalone's going to, you know, not be able to be brought back. You know, Eric McCoy is going to be their starting center. Cesar Ruiz, one of their guards. They're just going to lose a lot of talent, like I said. I don't know why they got Malcolm Jenkins for the number he's at. You know, the dude's a good player, but he's just getting older. And I think that was another mistake on their part, because if they didn't do that, you know, they're able to re-sign Marcus Williams, which, you know, at this rate, I don't think they're going to be able to do that. Currently, we have positive $6.2 million, so we've actually got to this point. So I'm actually going to end up re-signing Jameis Winston. I think that could become a quarterback competition come next summer, come next fall. I'm going to give him a very similar deal to last year. He had a very low, you know, right above $1 million 1-year deal last year. I could see, you know, him doing that as a prove it, maybe try to win that starter job and take over as a Saints starting quarterback. So with the salary, we're going to go a full guaranteed $990,000 with a $500,000 roster bonus. It'd be a cap hit of right under $1.5 million. If you look at his deal last year, his cap number was $1.1 million. Bonus of $148,000. Guaranteed, fully guaranteed. So I could see it being similar. Maybe they go for a 2-year deal, but just for the sake of things, I'm going to take 1.5 off their cap here and extend Jameis Winston. As for a player I think the Saints could end up extending is Ryan Ramczyk. He is the right tackle out of Wisconsin, 27 years old, a very solid right tackle, that is. And, you know, one of their anchors of the offensive line along with Armstead. You know, they're keeping a lot of their offensive linemen throughout this. They're obviously cutting Easton, but, you know, you're keeping Pete Ruiz, he's still your center. You got Ramczyk, you got Armstead, so at least that's staying mainly intact. I could see them extending him because his 2021 cap hit is pretty high at 11. I think they might try to lower that a little bit, maybe try to get that around the 7 to 8 mark, save a few there, and just backload his contract. I'm no contract guru. I don't know a crazy amount about how, you know, they're fully structured, but I'm going to base it off of Trent Brown, La'el Collins, those type of players, and give them a lot of money guaranteed. I meant to put this here. In the first couple years, and then pretty much, you know, give them a $7 million signing bonus, you know, some workout bonuses and whatnot, but basically lower that 2021 cap number to $8 million, and then, like I said, backload it, so he's going to be making 17, and then obviously workout bonuses, so 19 cap hit, 21 cap hit, 23 cap hit for the next 3 years after that. So then that will save them a few more $1 million, put them up to $7.8 million. So I wanted to kind of mirror it with Trent Brown's contract, because this is a very interesting, where he has, you know, he had only $5 million base salary and then a $10 million roster bonus for 2019. Just basically, moving that bonus out more extended towards the future years would lower this cap number a lot. And then obviously his second year is the most what he played this year at, which was 21.5. But basically I'm kind of mirroring it somewhat in order to give the Saints more cap room for 2021. Another player, like I said, I could see them bringing back because they're cutting Latavius Murray in this situation would be Ty Montgomery, solid backup running back. Us Packers fans obviously know him. Did decently well in the later part of the season when Kamara wasn't able to play. So, I could see them extending him. He had a very cheap deal. If you look at his deal, he only had a $910,000 base salary with $137,500 in bonus. His cap number was under $1 million. I could see them basically keeping that cap number right around $1 million. So if we put in the numbers, and his cap number would be right around 1.135, sorry, and you extend him. So the Saints now re-sign Tom Montgomery and Jameis Winston and have $6.6 million in cap room. So what they do from here with their own free agents is going to be very limited. Obviously the main guys you'd want to bring back, number one in my eyes would be, where is he at? Trey Hendrickson. I don't believe they're going to be able to do that. If you go ahead and look at his evaluation, he's valuated at getting, 9.35 a year, roughly around that, $10 million a year. Then you could also look at Alex Anzalone, who's a good 4-3 outside backer. He's a potential guy you could bring back, which I could see them doing. So if his evaluation's at a 4.2, you could definitely backload that contract and basically re-sign him. Maybe get a cap hit of $3 million for this year, which is doable. And then third would be Marcus Williams, starting safety for the Saints, and his valuation is at $6 million a year. So you have three starters on the defense that you might not be able to bring back just because of the horrible, horrible cap situation that this team is in. And they're most likely going to be playing for other teams. Like I said, Hendrickson, I could pretty much see him as good as gone. Anzalone, I could see them potentially bringing him back. And then Marcus Williams, that's going to be a stretch, but hey, you never know. They could, extend a couple more guys. Like I said, Taysom Hill. They could restructure Demario Davis, save another $4 million. There's a lot of weird little nuances they could do to save a little bit more money. Obviously, Davenport's your other end. It would be very good for them to have Hendrickson back, but like I said, that's a little too far gone in my opinion. And then with Anzalone, if you don't re-sign him, maybe Zach Bond makes that jump. Like I said, the Wisconsin Badger linebacker, he has some promise. So it's hard to say. But right now, this is all we had to do just to get the Saints $6.6 million in cap space. And we only re-signed two players that are pretty much backups. Jameis could end up winning the quarterback job, but Ty Montgomery, backup running back. So just to recap, Drew Brees retires, save some money there. You restructure Cameron Jordan, Michael Thomas, Teron Armstead. You push all their bonuses and guaranteed money into future years. You cut Janoris Jenkins, you cut Quan Alexander, two starters, just getting paid way too much. As of right now, you don't do anything with Taysom Hill, potentially extend him. He is, I guess, your future quarterback. You restructure Andres Pete, starting left guard. Save a little money there. He's going to be, your left guard for the next future, 3 years, so fine to do that. You're going to extend Ryan Ramczyk, a young 27-year-old right tackle, kind of lower the 2020-21 cap hit, but, tie him to your team for the next 3-4 years. You're going to trade Marshawn Lattimore, get some draft capital back to hopefully draft another corner to start or get, significant playing time or a safety to replace Marcus Williams, and you're going to save $10 million with that. You're obviously going to cut Emmanuel Sanders, save, I think it was $11 million. He's, on the back end of his career. You have younger receivers. You obviously still have Michael Thomas. You can draft a guy. No need to keep Emmanuel Sanders around for that much. You're going to cut Nick Eason, who's a very solid guard for this team, but just not worth the money. Cut Malcolm Brown. You already have Onyemata and Rankin, so there's no need to pay him for a third string there, or for a second string there. You're going to cut Thomas Morstead. You have the punter from Penn State, Blake Gillikin. So you're going to cut Morstead, save some money there, and run with the rookie from last year. You're going to cut Latavius Murray, save money because he's getting paid way too much. I think it was $4.2 million for a backup. And you're going to re-sign Tom Montgomery. And he's only going to get around $1 million for a backup. You're going to cut Josh Hill, and I don't know if I missed Jared Cook. You're going to cut Jared Cook and Josh Hill at tight end. Jared Cook getting paid way too much again. This is a common theme for how old he is. Josh Hill is, a decent tight end, but they just don't really have money for it. Maybe they run Garrett Griffin. That's another thing. It could be Josh Hill they keep and cut Garrett Griffin, but with the saving 2.5 here, it's probably going to end up being Garrett Griffin they run with, and then maybe a rookie or sign a cheap guy in free agency. Cut Cole Wick. That is a tongue twister. Cut Cole Wick. Cut Humphrey. And after all of that, and Trevor Siemian, because, if you re-sign Jameis, you got 2 quarterbacks. So after all of that trouble, you are finally at 6.6 million cap, and you have 48 players under contract. What a journey. What a journey this Saints team is going to take. This is going to be one of the biggest team turnarounds in NFL history, and I'm guaranteeing that. It is going to be crazy to see what this team turns into. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 4-12 team next year. They just don't have the money to contend anymore. They put it all on the table, and they ended up folding. So they lost all of it. They didn't get the Super Bowl they wanted for Drew Brees, and now they're going to lose, multiple starters on the defense in free agency, who would be future really good players for their team, like Trey Hendrickson, who had a hell of a year. Alex Anzalone, who was showing great promise. Marcus Williams, who was a solid safety. Craig Robertson, solid linebacker. PJ Williams, decent corner. So you're throwing away all that, and then next year, you have $56 million, and that's obviously you're gonna have a little less because they might sign some more free agents, and then rookie, and then finally you start getting into decent cap situations where you're gonna have a little more money, and the cap's gonna keep going up, obviously, hopefully, with the COVID and all that going away. And then if you look at future years, obviously you get up to 56, 98, 169 with the cap moving up, hopefully with fans returning to the stadium and whatnot. So man, that was a lot of work, and this is just a dumpster fire. Like I said, there's not much more to say about it. So on that note, that'll about do it. I like doing these type of things. It's kind of fun to see what a team can do to try to get back to normality. So if you have a team suggestion that you want me to do, I'll go back to the salary cap here. If you have a team suggestion that you want me to do, even if it's someone who's positive in cap space, who you think like I can, show potential free agency signings or whatnot, just leave it in the comments. There's other teams like the Eagles would be a very difficult one, especially with the Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts situation. But yeah, just leave it in the comments if you want me to do other teams and what team. And on that note, even though this is a Saints video, go Pack Go.